And if you're a true believer and you're hiding it, God will expose you and shame you.
Okay.
And I'll give you an example of that, just my proof. King David saw a married woman bathing, and then he told her to come, and he slept with her, got her pregnant while her husband was fighting for the army. And then when she
Okay.
said, look, I missed my period, I'm pregnant, David panicked. He goes, uh-oh, if they find out I commit adultery, I'm going to be murdered, because the law says you got to kill the adulterer and adulteress, right? That was in the time of David, law of
Okay.
Moses. So
Okay.
then he told her, the husband, he summoned the husband, his name's Uriah, he said, come. And then he got him drunk, hoping he'd go to his wife's bed and sleep with her, but he didn't. This is in 2 Samuel chapter 11 and 12. So what happens? The next day, David saw the man didn't go to his wife. And he said, hey, what happened? He goes, how could I go and sleep with my wife and be intimate with her when the people of God and the ark of God is in the battle? And David got more embarrassed. So you understand what the man is saying?
Absolutely.
My brothers and sisters in God are fighting in the battle against God's enemies, and you want me to go and have pleasure with my wife? Now, why was this a knife in David's heart? Because David, the king, instead of being in the battle, leading the battle, he's in his palace, kicking back while the soldiers are dying for the glory of God. And on top of that, he commits adultery. So then what did he do? He said, this letter, he gave him a letter. He said, don't read it. Give it to the commander of the army. So when he went to the commander, he opened it, and the letter said, put Uriah at the head of the army, and when it gets fierce, pull back so he can get killed. So David had him murdered.
Okay.
But now watch where God comes in. Okay. David tried to cover it up, because now that he died, he could now marry his wife. So he married the wife, and no one knew that she had gotten pregnant through adultery. So he thought he got away with it. So now watch here. So he tried to hide it. So if you belong to God and you truly are a believer, God will expose you and will not let you get away with your sin, to punish you and discipline you and shame you in this life, so he can spare you from the destruction in the afterlife. So then God
Okay.
sent a prophet named Nathan. Watch what happens. 2 Samuel 12. So Nathan says, David, you're the king and the judge of the land. This man has 99 lambs. 99. He's rich. One of his friends came to visit. So what did he do? Instead of taking one of his lambs and killing it and preparing meat, cooking it and feeding him, there was a poor man who had his own lamb that was like a pet that he loved. He only had one and he was poor. And he loved this lamb just like a pet, like if you have a dog, right?
Yes.
And he would even let the lamb sleep in the bed next to it, because he loved this lamb as a pet. So this wicked man took that lamb and killed it and cooked it for his friend.
Okay.
And then Nathan says to him, what should be done to that man? He goes, that man must die. And then Nathan said, you're that man. That's you. Do you understand what God did? He
Yes.
exposed. He said, Nathan said, you're that man, David. You have all these wives. You took this poor man's wife and had him murdered. You're in sin. And now God's going to bring a sword on your house. He's going to bring punishment on your household. He's going to bring discipline on your household. And he's going to allow you to be shamed for your sin. And then David fell before God. And he goes, I've sinned against God. He goes, God has forgiven you, meaning you're not going to die and be punished in the afterlife, but you're going to experience hell on earth. And from that moment on, one of David's daughters got raped by her half-brother. So David had many wives, and he had children from different wives. So one daughter from a different wife got raped by her brother from a different wife. So now this daughter, Tamar, her brother from the same mother named Absalom, murdered Amnon, the man who raped his sister. And then Absalom went into hiding. And then when David brought him back, Absalom drove out David, overthrew David. David had to now go into hiding. Then Absalom took his concubines and had sex with them in a tent in front of everyone. So God brought hell and misery on David's life for what he did.
Okay.
So what did you learn from that story?
that God can make you go through hell on earth so that you don't
If you
go
truly
to
belong
it.
to him, if you belong to him and he has loved you and you're in sin and you cover it, he will expose your sin and shame you and discipline you to teach you the fear of God so that he punishes you here and doesn't have to punish you there.
Okay, but in this case, aren't his family innocent? S-
Yeah, but
So,
that's not because God made them do it. See, this is where you're confused. God is the one who tries to guard you from doing what your evil heart desires, or he can let his hand go and let you act upon your evil desires.
so God was protecting his family, and he
Yes.
left his protection.
And then he left his hand up. Okay, now here you go. Go ahead and now devour each other, ravish each
Okay,
other.
okay, I see. So
The
it's not
Bible
God
says
who made the half brother rape his sister.
exactly.
Okay,
The point is, let me explain how God works. God is not the one who makes you sin and desire sin. God's the one who protects you from your sinful desires. But if you anger God, he removes his hand and then allows you to act on those desires that he was protecting you from. Here, let's be honest, you and me. I'm a single man. I'm always struggling with lust. But who's giving the grace and the power not to go sleep with a woman because I cannot have sex until marriage? God.
okay,
Is God making me lust? No. It's something natural for a man, unless he's been given the gift of celibacy, not marriage, to want to have a woman and marry. But who's the one who's enabling me and giving the grace to love the Lord enough not to act upon it? My God.
okay,
But then God can say, all right, I'm going to remove my hand and hand you over to your desire. That's what happened. It was God's protection being removed. Go ahead now. Devour each other.
okay. That's very clear. Thank you.